3 minutes and 21 seconds left first quarter.
And by the way, would we be surprised if Memphis went on a 28-0 heater? Of course not.
No,
it's NC State.
Maybe they'll make a little something up.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So far, but they're not so far. No. So.
And then CFP tonight. So I know yesterday you made the case for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I did stick with Oklahoma. Who is now, by the way, and we'll have the showdown later in the program. We will have Oklahoma minus 1.5. So they are now a home favorite. My only real logic here, Terry, is Oklahoma's at home. That's all I've really. I think these are evenly matched teams. I don't think, as we've talked about, neither one of them run the ball well. I feel like Brent Venables dials something up, and that somewhere late, that defense makes a stop with the 90,000 plus screaming Sooner fans behind them, and gets the job done. I won't be surprised. Whoever wins this game, I'm not going to be surprised. I guess my only surprise might be if one team simply runs away from the other, and I don't anticipate that happening either, because I do think both of them can play defense. One of my big questions, though, is just, do some of the guys at Alabama show up tonight? That's been one of the things that maybe some of the inconsistencies on offense. There's a lot of people out there who believe that Alabama, and they're probably right, should have lost here in Columbia, didn't play great against Auburn, did not look good against Georgia, that they could have more losses. They could. But the thing is, Terry, they don't. So right. I think that in and of itself tells me a lot about this Bama team. But they are a 3-loss team. They are a flawed team to some degree. So I'm not going to be surprised either way.
It's weird because Alabama – it seems like Alabama peaked like in October, early November, whatever. And the Alabama we saw earlier in the year is not the Alabama we saw late in the year. And we always take what we see last, and that's kind of our lasting impression of anything. And Alabama looked terrible. They looked like they didn't deserve to be on the same field with Georgia. They were, forget the score. It was worse than the score, right, if you watch that thing. So our thought of Alabama is what you said exactly. I mean, they were leaking oil down the stretch. They barely handled Auburn. And if you look at the latter part of the season, those last 2-3 games, I mean, Ty Simpson really struggled the last couple of games. So your thought is, Oklahoma beat them head-to-head in Tuscaloosa. So you figure they should get them at home. The problem with that game, we talked about this yesterday, Alabama almost 2-1 in total yards over Oklahoma in that loss. Alabama just kept, pick six, special teams mistakes, turnovers. Alabama beat Alabama as much as Oklahoma did, but, hey, look, to your point, Brent Venables does a lot of kooky stuff, and if Alabama doesn't play a clean game, they'll lose again, no doubt.
I just want to add as well, they won at Alabama. So for them to do that, that's giving them a whole lot of confidence right there going into this game to say, if we can beat them there, we have a better shot of them beating them at home.
Well, they beat them twice in a row now. So they have a ton of confidence as Oklahoma against Bama.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
By the way, update, Gasparilla Bowl, NC State just picked off a deflected pass around midfield and has returned it to the 3.
Oh, well.
First and goal, Wolfpack about to go up big.
Yeah. You know what? If NC State goes up 21-0, maybe it might be a wrap. I don't know.
Might be time for fans of both schools to go enjoy Ybor City.
I'll say this too.
The Tampa area.
I'll just say this too. Oklahoma started the game off, the first game 10-0, and they allowed Alabama to crawl back in. You can't do that in a situation like this if you're Oklahoma.
The problem is Oklahoma's offense hasn't been right since Mateer got hurt.
Yeah.
They've hit a couple of explosive plays in games, but they're not driving the ball down the field to beat people, Jay. That's the thing with Oklahoma now. Is just it could be a lingering thing with Mateer. Maybe you got a little time off here, his hand will be better, but they just haven't been the same offense since he got hurt.
He'll be healed up a little bit more, and how much we see of that tonight is going to make a difference. But again, neither one of these teams very effective at running the football, which I think allows these defenses to set themselves up accordingly. But I think Venables just finds a little bit more of a way to dial something up tonight. We'll see. And we'll get Langston's take on that and all these other games too, and more on the James Madison and Tulane angles. Still a lot of angst from people about those two teams. I know we touched on some of that yesterday, Terry, but I get it. NC State just scored a touchdown, by the way.
Okay. Now, when you took Memphis, did you get Memphis in like 30, Jay?
I don't. There's no spread in that game. Jack's picks, we just go straight up.
That's okay. I was kidding with those guys earlier today. They have to check the record book. I might have set a record going from first to last. So
I don't know. But
yeah.
Oh wait! It might not be a touchdown.
Oh,
they're going to review it.
Got to review it. Well, we'll tell you when we come back, and we'll get Langston Moore as well here on the Postgame Show. Jay Phillips, Jalen's here punching the buttons. Terry Ford, we're here till 6 on the game. All right, post-game show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Jalen Tartt's here. Jay, you ready for the intro? Because you do this better than me. You set?
Hang on. Yes, let's do it.
Here we go.
Ready?
Drum roll.
All right. Let's welcome Langston Moore, the former Gamecock defensive lineman team captain, draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, husband, father, barbecue aficionado, children's book author, softball expert, navigator of the back roads of the state of Texas, cheer dad, public speaker, and probably this time of year, too, amazing gift giver. We'll just throw that in.
You know what? That was a fantastic intro. You just once again forgot bowl reporter.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Part-time journalist.
Yes.
There's just again, man about town. He's all around. And apparently, again, we're just throwing rumors out there, so you may as well confirm or deny. You are like Phillip Rivers headed back to the National Football League in your mid-40s.
Yes, the Cincinnati Bengals have tried to figure out a way to go get an extra timeout, and like I've told people for years. When you run out of timeouts, put me on your roster, and I can go out there and fake like you think I was dead. You think I was dying the way, and they won't hold it against your team. So, again, whoever wants to sign me first, you get the benefit of that. And trust me, they will not penalize you. Even if you do or don't have that timeout, I can go out there and play dead with the best of them. I think you probably have to put me up there with like an old possum or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I could fake the death with the best of them. You think that ACL, think that leg was going to fall off, Jay? You think it was going to fall off?
Hey, by the way, Jay, I'm picturing Langston looking to the sidelines. The fall down coach starts to give him the sign.
Do I need to go?
And my man just falls down, grabbing his knee.
Little limp, little look back, yeah. Now, hey, do it, go. There it is.
And see, that's the thing. I don't even need a coach with that. See, they can save the salary. You can make me play the first player coach. That guy. You know, I could be a groundbreaker. I could be somebody like one of these famous player coaches back in the day that they don't even have no more. I could be one of those.
Well, we know
dudes.
the Bengals don't want to pay somebody extra to do that.
No.
I sent Langston a story the other day because Langston has regaled us in the past about the thriftiness. The thriftiness of the Brown family and the Bengals organization. And apparently the other day, with a snow-covered stadium, the Bengals did not want to pay to remove the snow from the seats and aisles the way the NFL mandates. And they were accused of their thriftiness again. So I sent Langston that, and he reminded me once again of how the Bengals like to operate.
I mean, just terrible. Okay, it's one thing for certain seats, there's club seats. Well, there is no club seats in the Bengals. Ain't no shade, ain't no awning or nothing. Everything got trash and snow in your seat. But I mean, the handicapped ADA accessible seats. Like, what are we doing, man? What are you doing, Mike? Like, come on, man. Get somebody to go out there, blow it off, wipe it down. But what it is, they figured out that the penalty for that, getting the fine from the NFL, was much less than hiring somebody who's going to actually come out there and do it.
Yeah, absolutely, that's what it was.
Or maybe you just figure out, hey, man, I got a bunch of crazy fans. They ain't doing nothing anyway. We're not even going to pay them. Some places will even pay those fans to come out there and clean the seats, give you a Pepsi or something like that. They figured out it would probably be more insurance exposure to have the fans come in there and clean it off for free than to actually have the fine. And so somewhere you talk about an algorithm. There's a cheap Cincinnati Bengals Brown algorithm built in there somewhere that's going to get the cheapest bottom line at the end of the day.
Hey, Langston, like if the fans to come in and clean off their own seats, because that's what Mike Brown's going, well, hell, they got brooms. Well, but you know what it is? When they show up, before you go sit down to clean your seat, we need you to sign this waiver.
Yeah, sign this waiver because, again, Bengals for famously known for the first ones to have a split in your contract. If you didn't know, the NFL only pays you when you play. And so on top of that, if you don't play, there's another little way to save some money where it says, you know what, you hurt for the year, we're just going to pay you half of your contract because what else you going to do? They were the first ones to be very staunch on that language, and now everybody in the NFL does it. You hear NFL draft picks talking about this language all the time, guaranteed money. I want that. Thank you to the Browns Cincinnati bring all the way up to Papa Brown, figuring out the most cheapest and thrifty ways to be as cheap as possible, as my dad used to be, holding on to that tight money, holding on to that lunch money. And there's a phenomenal article out there they came out with a couple years ago that just talked about, every other NFL team is based upon billionaires. People have owned things. Well, the Browns, the family never owned. They were coaches. They were old school, but now they're getting into the money. Now they done hit the Jed Clampett status, and they are not going back. They want bailouts. They want the city to pay for it. We have arrived, you guys. Now you pay us. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
So basically, old Jed went in the backyard and hit oil.
Yeah, I mean, 2, 3, 4 iterations down. I mean, young. I don't know who the young Paul Brown is now. He's in the wings behind Mike Brown, but same dress code, same everything, as if it's 1950, whatever. But man, somebody made a point the other day. I don't think. Most of these franchises, but specifically the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, they don't have anybody that probably would be hired in a top 1,000 Fortune 500 company, let alone a top Fortune 500 company. So nepotism and having your family who gets there at the table first. Look here, why did my grandparents buy an NFL franchise when they were younger? I mean, again, that's the only thing that's been holding me back. So, but the Browns, they'll be all right. They'll figure it out.
That's a fine question. All right, I did stay at the top because Jalen's a Colts fan, and I said I was getting tired this week of how many people were giving Phillip Rivers crap for the way he looked the other day, as if they were expecting, I don't even know what. I mean, whether they were expecting the late 20s Phillip Rivers at his peak, or like Dan Marino of his 20s. I don't know what they were expecting, but I got a 44-year-old out there who hadn't done anything in 5 years. So as an NFL veteran and a man in his mid-40s, what was your assessment of Phillip Rivers the other day?
He looked just fine. I know a Christmas card is coming every year, my birthday, swimsuit season. I know these things are on the calendar every year. It might as well be Christmas. I don't get in shape for these things, but I say to myself, you know what? I'm gonna look less puffy this year in the Christmas. No. Phillip Rivers didn't know any of this was coming. He might have been having conversations, but God bless him. He showed up enough to not have his arm fall off when he threw it. His butt didn't fall off, and they didn't have to tie it back on and put it in a paper bag and send it home to one of his 13 kids. Is like, here, your daddy said if his butt falls off because his hamstrings couldn't hold it, he wanted you to have this as a memory of him. No, he went out there, and I hate the joke because it's always Phillip Rivers, fourth quarter, down by 4, no timeouts left, and he's getting ready to drive. And that's exactly what Phillip Rivers had in front of him. After all these years, after all this time off, it seemed like he figured out a way to get himself back into the same type of situation. But just old man time, man. He had a shot down the middle of the field, and that old arm, that looked like a shot, but that looked like a 4. Everything else, there were little glimpses of it here and there, but that when he tried to make that last final throw and it got picked off, that looked like a 44-year-old out there playing with grown men who shouldn't be. That looked like the coach warming up, like, catch this one. This is an interception.
Look, like I said, I saw that throw, and I was just like, this is not going to end well. And surely enough, it did not end well. When I saw it get an interception, I was like, nope, it's done. But at the end of the day, I like what I saw as a diehard Colts fan. I like accuracy and efficiency, and that's what he showed. And it gives my team a fighting chance to get an upset win over the 49ers.
I want us to all close our eyes and remember our family members at 44, dads, uncles. The guy is a grandfather. What the hell did anybody expect?
Again, just like I said, I wanted to see. We started off with 53 people on the roster. I would like us to end with 53 people on the roster at the end. I didn't want to say, this one has a skull and crossbones emoji next to his name. He didn't make that one, but nah, Phillip Rivers. And again, as an old school kind of like Colts fan, Ted Marcher, Broder, all them dudes like. I don't expect the Colts to do any type of winning unless, Peyton Manning highlights or something coming back. But, man, hats off to them, man. They figured out a way to try to, make it competitive. My question is, are we going to do this again this week? Because now we got tape. Now all these young dudes, it's Christmas time. I'm going to just tell you, there's somebody out there trying to be the dude to be like, you know what? I'm going to crush Phillip Rivers on Christmas week so his kids can cry, all 13, 14, 15 of the team Rivers. There's somebody out there maniacal like that that's thinking like that because I was that dude. I was out there trying to figure out how to be that one. I just couldn't get on the field and play to make anything happen. But 2 weeks in a row, that's my thing that I'm worried about with Phillip Rivers. It's one thing to kind of dodge and play in traffic the first week. But brother, I don't know if you want to dodge and play in traffic this week.
And plus,
I'll be praying for you.
Let's just be fair here. My man won't be healed up until Sunday near kickoff from last week.
Right.
I mean, they're gonna be like, okay, all of a sudden I smell Ben Gay. What the hell's going on in here?
Yeah, the definition of liniment is going to be thrown. You can smell liniment all across that locker room.
Hey, we have some breaking Gamecocks coaching news. We'll get to next here on the Postgame Show. Langston Morris here, Jalen here on the game. All right, some breaking news. Get to it on the post-game show. Terry Ford, Jay Phillips, Jalen Tart, Langston Moore with us. According to Chris Clark, West Mitchell, Gamecock Central, Sterling Lucas, the South Carolina defensive end, outside linebacker coach, and defensive run game coordinator, is expected to leave the program and join Lane Kiffin at LSU. Unclear what Lucas's position will be with the Tigers. So,
Langston, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a really big deal, and I think we Sterling, of course, has brought a wealth of NFL experience. I got an affinity for him. He studied under one of my old mentors, Joe Cullen, who studied under the man, Rod Marinelli out there. So all the stuff they did in Baltimore with their pass rushers, and I'm sure Baltimore could use some new pass rushing coaches out there because they haven't been figuring out ways to stop people unless it's the last couple of weeks against the Bengals or something like that. They figured out how to do that. But no, this is a big one because Sterling, just that whole litany of things behind his name, it just run game coordinator, defensive end, and I have to imagine, I know a lot of things were talked about this year with Travian Robertson, obviously the injury and everything that had happened with him. I know Sterling probably had to lean in and do a whole bunch more with there. And one of the things that I didn't want us to get into from a whole Gamecock kind of like program standpoint is like trying to figure out, if our defensive coordinator left, what would that mean? So, we didn't lose our guy, but this one right here is going to be tough. Now, unlike the Jimmy Lindsey, a couple years ago, LSU with the Brian Kelly guy, no disrespect to Jimmy Lindsey, God bless him, but this one don't hurt this one hurts a lot more than the Jimmy Lindsey one does because just so vital, the hometown essence with him. If you ever had a chance to meet Sterling, talk with him, you get that good South Carolina Orangeburg stuff in there, but then you get all the NFL. It was the perfect miracle of everything that we wanted and kind of felt like hometown cooking, and you hate to lose it to somebody in purple. But if we're going to lose it to somebody in purple, not the ones in the upstate, send them to across the Mississippi and see if they can, handle all that boudin and all that stuff. But this is a big one right here. This is a big one right here. So again, another big challenge for Shane to fill up that, because I was also one of the guys over there rattling the saber saying I'd like to see us get a little bit more linebacker coaching help because, it's a lot of stuff we ask for our defensive coordinator to do within between those things. So I think having more minds on the field to help with the coaching could go a long way as well.
And the other thing, Sterling Lucas is a hell of a recruiter, Jay.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, too, to that end, Terry, and Langston, I'll ask you, this is all our opinion now, but, what impact may this have on the retention of Dylan Stewart? I know they have a good rapport. I know Sterling was involved in that recruitment, so I do think that will matter. You never know how much.
Yeah, and I don't like the combination of big Bayou guy down there with a whole bunch of money. I got to say the little voice with it, somewhere between Foghorn Leghorn and the LSU governor or whatever it is. But I don't like the combination of our familiar coach going to another SEC school that has a whole bunch of money. They got another dude who's over there who will do whatever it takes. And I just know a whole bunch of stories of what that coach was doing to get certain position coaches. So I can only imagine what he's going to try to do to get the guy who's already right there. So, Jay, I thought we were kind of solid with our quarterback. I didn't even think about Dylan Stewart, and lo and behold, we got to start thinking about Dylan Stewart, and we're going to be able to keep him and everything that's going on because it's going to be really enticing. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know Chris and Wes have been reporting that things have been looking good. They have certainly not reported that it is done for Dylan Stewart, and again, how much of that is predicated upon the stability of the coaching staff and other things relative to just making sure the numbers are good, or that Dylan, let's face it. Look, you can go anywhere these days. Jordan Birch is from Columbia and moved all the way to Eugene. So, but Dylan.
Cecil Caldwell's son, it was from Newberry and went to Oregon. So I think that's a great point, Jay. That's a great point.
Yeah. So you can go anywhere, but family is at least closer to Washington here than you will be in Baton Rouge, but everybody can get on an airplane. So, who knows? We'll see. But that could certainly have an impact. We'll follow that one, I suppose, over the course of the next couple of weeks. You can't enter the portal for a few more weeks, but obviously we all know that there's behind-the-scenes stuff all the time. So we'll see. But Sterling Lucas is looking like he's going to be moving on to LSU. Langston, before we get you out of here in a few minutes, playoffs start tonight. Let's go with the big one here. I think this is the best game of the four. Bama at Oklahoma. Oklahoma won in Tuscaloosa last month. Played really good defense, especially late. I expect the same tonight. What are you looking for tonight in this ball game?
That Alabama makes it somewhat competitive, that this isn't one of those Brent Venables, North Carolina State, Wake Forest. We really didn't have the offense show up, even though we have, Deshaun Watson, whoever it was we had at Clemson all the years that they were there, and he was cooking it up. Giving Brent Venables time to game plan for somebody he's already seen, he has familiarity with, and it's just like Steve Spurrier getting extra weeks as an offense, man. He's going to dial up some stuff. And they're going to die. And again, I don't think the game is going to be a super big blowout because I don't expect any type of anything over it. But, 2 safeties, 6 field goals or something like that from the offense from Oklahoma. But I just hope Alabama figures out a way to put some points on the board so it's not just a full-on party at the quarterback, meet me there first. You better not be the only guy on the team that don't get 2 sacks this week, because that's what this game feels like it's going to be. And I'm sure that's the way Brent Venables, a.k.a. Skeletor, with that white stuff on the side of his mouth, he's ready to get those dudes going. I'm telling you, this is his type of game. He's going to show us some stuff tonight. So hopefully Alabama can weather the storm, make it competitive, and I can have some good TV watching.
I hope you have some good TV watching with A&M in Miami. That's the other one that might be good. Hopefully.
Yeah, and again, talking about the matchups this week, I just want to see one with crystal ball. Is that team going to be as tough as everything is promoted? We hear about it all these other places. I grew up, crystal ball, that name, all those different things, and of course Elko, the SEC, just all. I feel like that's kind of like a match to see who's going to be the tougher team, but in some way it feels like it's going to be a track meet to me, and I'm not going to get what I want. So like Jay said, maybe the Alabama-Oklahoma game is going to be one of the betters, but on paper it should be that Miami-Texas A&M game just because it's a game in the trenches, but I don't know.
I don't know why, and both of y'all, Terry, you and Langston both, I just feel like A&M's going to kick the crap out of Miami. I mean, maybe not by like 30 or something. Yeah, but I mean, this is only a 3-point spread, and I'll be honest with you. I think A&M's going to take care of that. Just the A&M I've seen, but maybe I'm missing. I mean, I know Miami's good, and they've been playing really well of late, but they haven't been playing really good teams of late. So I just feel like A&M at home, I like them.
Right, and again, this is what all those A&M factions, what they want. They want to have that home game. They want it to be, an extra, all those things. And I think that's supposed to play into their favor. But I think, Jay, that Miami is going to be Miami of old this week. And then next week, I can feel like this is Carson Beck. What are you doing, Georgia, against Georgia Tech? Like, man, why did we sign this dude? And I feel like they're just going to spit the bid on this one, do everything they can, and blow out this Texas A&M team. And then next week, not have any semblance of that. And that just feels very that feels very Miami, very, very, very crystal ballish in the whole tenure of everything they got going on.
But I wonder if I should look, Terry, at battered Aggie syndrome and say it shows up tomorrow and Miami wins on the road?
It's funny. Jack Veltri brought that up earlier today. He's like, I'm just waiting for A&M to get back to being A&M. And look, they were against Texas, right? I mean, they were better than Texas until they started playing. And then A&M showed up, and Texas went, you might be undefeated, but you're always A&M and we're always Texas. So, I don't know, man. Battered A&M syndrome could show up. And not even Mario Cristobal could stop it.
I will say, too, if Miami does beat A&M on the road, does that give them a puncher's chance to win it all?
No.
No.
I can't see them in 4 games, man.
And then they got to play Ohio State. I mean, they got to play Ohio State the next round anyway. So
at some point, Mario Cristobal is going to Mario Cristobal.
Yes.
Well, Carson Beck's gonna get figured out by a defense and throw some picks that matter.
You get some pressure on him. He likes to throw it to the other team.
He does.
He likes that.
Old Sid from Ice Age can't always see the field too clearly like that. But it's one of those deals where, and also too, this is something to kind of be creeping in a little bit. Carson Beck, as much as all the talk we talked about with all the quarterbacks and everything, he's like the last one standing. Okay, from Mendoza's gone, off the top 5 picks. Carson Beck is kind of sitting in the pecking order. Like, he's perfect. And so I think for him personally, I think he needs to have a good playoff game. He just needs to have one because, again, there's still a lot of projection that they're looking at with Carson Beck. But I think for him, the NFL storyline is going to be a little bit interesting as well because he has a chance to be in a whole different place than he was at the beginning of the year.
All right, Langston, we appreciate you like always, my friend. Thanks for hopping in and hanging out with us.
Man.
Merry Christmas, man.
Absolutely. Eat all the cookies for breakfast, man.
That's right.
Yeah, when we get you back in the new year, we'll talk about everything we got and all the food, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Y'all be safe out there.
All right, we'll see you, my man.
You're the best,
Have
man.
a good holiday, my friend. We'll come back in here. Maybe we'll do a little Jay or Nay since Jay's here.
Let's do it.
Let's Jay or Nay next here on the Postgame Show. Get a little Jay or Nay in here with our buddy Jay Phillips. Post-game show. Jalen's here as well.
Good news. Memphis scored.
Memphis scored. Yeah, here we go. The comeback starts now.
That's right.
In the Gasparilla Bowl.
So it's 14-7. 14-6.
5 minutes left in the second quarter. So
24-7 NC State.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Just like, Kennesaw State's got plenty of time to come back in the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
No, that game's over. They lost. Bad.
We're going to keep playing till you guys start coming back.
That's right. Running clock in the other direction.
That's right. All right, little Jay or Nay, you ready? You set? You excited?
I am. Let's do it. Yes. Well,
all right, hit the music.
Let's do it.
To cue the band. Yeah, let's see what we got. Yeah, the best music. Right.
Okay, Jay or Nay, forget what the referee said and the video said. That 2-point conversion, reversing that on a lateral, bad call. Jay or Nay, last night.
Bad call. Yeah, Jay, bad call. I'm with Sean McVay. You don't see that get done. Sometimes I don't know anymore what they want to see on these things, Terry, and I feel like a lot of times in all kinds of sports, somebody that's finally making that decision, the final arbiter of that decision, has something preconceived in his or her mind, and they're going to get to that decision. That's my opinion. But I'm with Sean McVay on that assessment.
Jay or Nay, that loss, if it holds and the Rams fall into the wild card, will end up being a huge, huge shot to the Rams' postseason chances.
I'm going to say nay on that because I still think they're very good. I think it's interesting, and I don't know if you saw the stat today about the two games these two teams have played, but I think they're separated by 1 point and 2 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very equal. And again, you look at, for instance, Terry, just take a look at like how the Seahawks played last week to this week. They're a little more hot and cold, in my opinion, than the Rams are. Seattle's good. That was a good game last night. It was in Seattle. It's a tough place to play. I've been high on the Packers, who now are certainly damaged goods. In my personal opinion, the Rams are still, maybe not by a lot, but in my personal opinion, I still believe the Rams are the best team in the NFC.
I was going.
I'm going to say nay.
You stole my Jay or Nay. My next one was, even though Seattle won last night, the Rams are better. But you just answered it for me, and I think the Rams are the better team. I do. Anyway,
I
agree.
I think they are. I think they are. Nothing against Seattle. They got 11 wins, man. That's a good football team. McDaniel's doing a good job. Or not? What's his name? Not McDaniel. It's Mike.
Mike McDonald.
McDonald.
Yeah,
sorry.
Mike McDonald.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel's in Miami. Mike McDonald in Seattle. That's a good team. I think the Rams are a little bit better.
I think the Rams could be the best team in the NFL.
And let's face it, Terry, I'm kind of serious with this. The Rams play road games all the time. I'm serious.
They're used to it. No, they're used to it. You know? Absolutely.
They're like
Absolutely.
one of the top teams to travel this year, right?
Well, plus their home field, no one cares.
Even when they're at home,
right.
Even when they're at home half the time, the visitors, especially when the Niners come into L.A., the Niners overtake that.
It's a Niners home game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Jay or Nay? I don't know if you saw this. You probably did. Josh Hoover has hit the portal, the TCU starting quarterback.
Yeah.
If you were looking for a quarterback for your college football team, Jay or Nay, you go after Josh Hoover.
I think most schools would say Jay, and I would too. In fact, I read one piece this morning that said, it's unlikely he follows Kendall Briles to South Carolina because Lenora Sellers is coming back. But you wonder if Lenoris wasn't, how much of an option that might be. Mm-hmm. It feels like, I can't remember who wrote it now. I can't remember now. I read 3 things about him this morning, but one of them, maybe 2 of them said, watch out for Kurt Cignetti to go get him and try to turn him into another Fernando Mendoza type situation at IU. So wouldn't surprise me if he makes it up there. I know they just re-signed their offensive coordinator, who's been really good with his quarterbacks the last couple of years. So I could definitely see a move like that being made. But I think there will be a lot of suitors for young Mr. Hoover. Yes.
And then Jay or Nay, Duke quarterback Darian Mensah announced he's coming back to the Blue Devils instead of exploring the NFL draft. Smart move by Darian Mensah, Jay or Nay?
I think so, Jay. You're at Duke. Go ahead and finish up that nice Duke education. You went from Tulane to Duke, so you've got yourself some nice academic background. You won the ACC. You had some bad losses, maybe a little shot at redemption next year to not lose games you should win and try to angle yourself for something else. It's going to be hard for Duke to repeat as ACC champion, but that's a solid move.
All right, there's your Jay or Nay. We'll come back 4 o'clock hour, talk some college football playoff, and we haven't talked to Jay about the latest transfer portal news with the Gamecocks that's coming up.
All right, Jalen.
CHW Cabinetry in Lexington on Two Notch. Look, you're looking for cabinets for your indoor, outdoor, your bedroom, dining room, kitchen, pick an area. The first people to talk to, CHW Cabinetry, 803-520-6837. You make that call. You just talk to Star and her crew. Here's what I'm looking to do. Here's what I'm thinking. Can you help me out? Oh, by the way, here's my budget. And they will make it happen for you. They will sit down, meet with them, go through all the different designs, all the variety of cabinets that you would be interested in that would work for you, and they'll get it done in your budget. And they have photorealistic renderings, which will take you from beginning to end, showing you how this whole process is going to lay out to your satisfaction. Again, make that call, 803-520-6837. Just have a conversation. Customer service is also their expertise at CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Post-game shows, we roll hour 2. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Jalen Tart at the controls for us. If you have not heard the news yet, this just broke a little while ago. Looks like Sterling Lucas, very important part of the coaching staff at South Carolina. The word is, according to Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, that Sterling will leave to join Lane Kiffin's staff at LSU. That's what we're hearing right now. And we talked about that with Langston. Jay, you're losing a guy not only he's coaching the edge and the linebackers, but he's also an excellent recruiter. He's the guy that helped you land Dylan Stewart, and now, of course, looks like he'll be moving on to LSU.
He's been a huge part of this, and I'm not at all surprised that others want him, whether it's another big-time college program like LSU or, as Langston said, he's spent several years in the National Football League as well. He's really good at what he does. I think he's one of those guys, too, Terry, to your point about recruiting. He's got the really good blend, not only of being able to get those relationships built before guys get on campus, but I think they really trust him and they listen to him. And he's a great teacher. He's a great communicator. And he has gotten a lot. You know, you can sit here and look at guys like Dylan Stewart or Jordan Birch and say, well, I mean, geez, they're just so gifted. But, you know, he can get a lot out of them. But he gets a lot out of a guy like Kyle Kennard and many others that he's got. I could go on and with some of the names that he's had under his tutelage, excuse me, since he's been in Columbia. So I do think, I don't want to say he's a rare blend, but he is certainly one of the more special coaches that seems to have the whole package. And I would doubt, you know, I know some fans will look at this and look, I get you being discouraged. I'm not saying just, you know, hey, don't worry about it. It is, you know, a hit, but these things happen in coaching all the time. Do you go out and get somebody of his equal? I don't know. You know, Carolina's got the money to go out and lure somebody in here that can be good and pay them well. You know, Terry, he's going to go to LSU and get a pay raise. Again, without being too cynical, my biggest immediate concern with this would be the retention of Dylan Stewart.
Yep.
And that's going to be the job now of Shane and Jeremiah and Clayton to and their financial partners to make sure that you can get that done. It would be a difficult loss if he were to follow Sterling directly to Baton Rouge. That might be a little harder to handle than a lot of places if he were to potentially transfer. And again, I know that Chris and Wes and others have said that it right now, you know, it's been feeling good that Dylan Stewart will remain a Gamecock, but nothing is done yet. I would think this at least delays maybe that decision so he can have a chance to I don't know. You know, I don't want to put too much on it. It's all speculation from my part or any of our parts right now. So I want to be careful with what I'm saying so that nobody goes out there and says, well, hey, they're saying on 107.5 that Dylan Stewart's going to leave for LSU with Sterling Lucas. We're not saying that at all, but it's certainly there's an obvious connection, and there's, I think, in my opinion at least, obvious reason for some concern.
Yeah, I mean, look, in the world we're in now, there's always a level of concern in some way, shape, or form, right? I mean, just because teams, all teams, even blue bloods, everybody loses players, right?
Yep. And
when you see something like this happen, your first thought is, okay, how does this affect Dylan Stewart's relationship at South Carolina? Because, again, Sterling Lucas is the guy that was the point man on that recruitment. And this is a year-to-year thing, and I know fans roll their eyes and they get tired of hearing it. They're like, oh, my God, I miss the old days. This is insane. But this is the world you're in now in college athletics. And, you know, you have to, year to year, put this thing together. Like you hear different players, the announcements of, hey, they re-signed. Remember last year when Dylan Stewart and Lenore Sellers re-signed? Yep. And, you know, there were fans going, oh, really? They're college guys. But this is where we're at, and you have to always worry about those things now, Jay. Every program has to worry about it, not just South Carolina.
Sure, all of them. And Dylan Stewart is one of the few Gamecocks, in some cases maybe the only Gamecock as we speak, that could basically, in my opinion at least, start anywhere. in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Gamecocks have a lot of guys that could start at other places, at other positions. But I think Dylan Stewart starts everywhere in college football. So he's that kind of kid.
And he's that good with that much ceiling and potential and all those things. And also, yesterday, we didn't get to talk about this yesterday. It happened after you popped off with us. Brian Rowe, wide receiver, has announced he'll go in the transfer portal. Look, that receiver room is stacked. Stacked. And you knew at some point somebody was going to move on. I thought it'd be Mazio Bennett would be the first one, to be honest with you, Jay. But Brian Rowe, I mean, he was getting a lot of snaps, got suspended. Jaden Sellers stepped in, started playing really well. Rowe's snaps went down. His run went down. I can see why. I understand it. Because this room is going to thin out.
I do too. Mm-hmm. Well, we mentioned that during the season, even that at some point, people, you're going to have attrition there for a variety of reasons, and in this day and age, it does make a lot of sense. You didn't know which one. Look, he's good, but I can't tell you that this is going to be something that is a major impact on the guys Mike Furrey is coaching. That's not a diss. It's simply. And I don't even want to label it with some type of addition by subtraction. But to your point, the room is loaded. It's hard to share the ball there. This removes one piece from the equation and should allow Kendall Briles, Mike Furrey, okay, well, there's one guy down. Yeah, he's good. But we got other guys that are good. And we've seen some guys emerge. I'm still more disappointed. I know it happened a long time. I say disappointed, but I'm still thinking that Michael Smith is the one I'm going to miss the most, and that happened, 2 months ago? Yeah,
it was during the season. I mean, a lot of ability there, Jay. A big upside.
I think that's the biggest loss on the offensive transfer side of things, in my personal opinion, bigger than any of the guys on the line. And again, I think Rowe is good, but they've got guys that can fill those shoes. I'm not saying they can't fill Smith's shoes, but I like that kid.
Yeah,
and I think I think that's one that's going to be harder to.
That's the thing. And going back to Rowe, I agree with you. I think Rowe has got a ton of ability and a ton of talent, and he could go somewhere and start, and you could see him put up numbers because he's quick, he's twitchy. When you threw it to him, he caught it. But they have a lot of wide receivers. The tight end void, and this is no offense to anyone who's there now, Michael Smith had a huge ceiling. The athleticism, we saw little, peaks of it in his time here. Yeah, he's tough to lose. He really is, especially because you don't have a stacked tight end room like you do a wide receiver room.
Right. I think that's the bigger one. But again, that happened a while ago, so that's not new information. But look, the Rowe one, that's but I'm not. I can't say I'm surprised. Somebody, like you said, somebody was going to go, and how much of that is in relation to conversations with Coach Beamer and Coach Furrey?
Sure.
To say, well, maybe it's just best if I move on, and maybe it is.
It could be one of those things. You go in, have that conversation, say, look, I want to be a starter. I want significant playing time. Where do I stand here? And, the answer could have been, well, we love you. We want you to go out there and compete. And, we got a lot of talented guys. You're a talented guy. And we're just going to, throw the football out there and let everybody go at it and see how it shakes out. And maybe Brian Rowe wanted a little bit more, something different to hear.
Look, you never. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Shane's gonna tell his guys that hey, listen, you've got every chance to go compete for it. But in a room that crowded, you're not going to tell somebody. I mean, unless they just are some type of just amazing standout. Hey, it's all about you. You're not going to do that right now. So especially with a new coordinator coming in who's going to want to see, in my opinion at least, a more open level of competition in the spring.
Yeah, and here's the other part. If you sit and you think about that room, if everybody's coming back, you have Nick Harbor, Jaden Sellers has, carved a niche there in the slot right now. Donovan Murph started getting more run at the end of the year. You've got a ton of folks in that room. And so we might see somebody else go, Jay, before it's all said and done. I mean, we didn't see, like Cyrus, didn't see Malik Clark, didn't see Gidron. There's a lot of receivers here, Jay.
There are. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm not wishing for it, but you're right. We haven't seen the portal even officially open yet. None of these guys are officially in the portal because they can't. The portal doesn't open until after January. But there probably will be others.
Yeah, I mean, we could conceivably see that in the wide receiver room. And look, and all of a sudden, let's talk about this too. I mean, you have rev share money. You have a certain amount of money that's going to be allocated to certain players. There's going to be guys who leave, Jay, who maybe think they should get a little bit more of that than South Carolina thinks they should give them. Again, that's the world we live in, too. I mean, some people value themselves more than maybe the team does. And I'm not just saying South Carolina. I'm saying everywhere. You could see things like this. This could be some of the moves because of somebody says, I think I'm worth more than what this number is. And, school might go, well, go see if you can find it because we can't go that high. That's it's business too, man.
Yeah, Shane told us that, but when it came to parting ways with coaches, but that's those conversations are true with everybody. You sometimes have to have difficult conversations, and South Carolina does not have the open-ended resources that a few schools in the Southeastern Conference do. So you do have to be a little more selective. But I'm looking right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 players officially listed as wide receivers on last year's roster.
Think about that.
Yeah. And you hope you can get 6 or 7 of them the ball on a regular basis. So
yeah.
Not too surprised.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just tough. And with that talent in that room, and be honest with you, with the talent in that room, Jay, if some guys start to separate, you want them to get more snaps. You just do. Yes. And so at the end of the day, it can't be equal opportunity if guys start to separate themselves. They have to get more run, and that will probably lead to another couple guys at some point moving forward.
Yeah, and Jalen just mentioned, Dre Jacobs. I mean, he's back. Mazio is back. Murph is back. Harbor is back. Mm-hmm. Jared Brown's done. He's a redshirt senior. He's done. Mm-hmm. Jaden Sellers. I mean, there's your top 5 right there.
Yeah. So
they're gonna be the guys, and Rowe would have been in that mix for sure.
Yeah.
But Bennett, Jacobs, Murph, Harbor, Sellers.
And
I'm ready. I'm ready to go play football with those 5 next year.
Absolutely. And again, for me, I thought the first guy we might hear his name go in the portal is Mazio Bennett.
I was very high on him leaving as well. So.
I mean, he had a good freshman year, caught 30 balls, came back this year, was a starter coming into the season, and as the year went along, I mean, he lost a spot. And, again, could it be just those guys are better than him? Sure. I mean, it's a lot of talent in that room. But, put yourself in the place of Mazio Bennett. You want to come back and fight with 5 or 6 other guys? You want to go somewhere where you got a better chance to get snaps? We'll see. Yeah. He might stay. I'm not saying anything.
He's an in-state kid. He wants to stay and fight for it. So I think there's that part of the equation.
Everybody's got to be individual in the idea. Do I want to stay at the state school and fight for my playing time, or do I want to go somewhere else where I got a better chance to start and show what I can do? Everybody's got an individual thought on this thing, and that's why this world's so different, man. It's just so different.
That's right. All right, let's play the showdown, Ter.
Oh, it's time. 803-404-6100. It's time for the Wild Card Showdown. 803-404-6100. The first 2 in will, and it's not that tough to beat us, let's just be honest. 803-404-6100. First 2 in will play the game, play the showdown for a fine craft beer card. That's next here on the Postgame Show on the game. 803-875-MENS, the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Look, we're guys. You get older, things don't go as well as they did when you were younger. It could be just you're not sleeping well. Your memory, you can't remember stuff like you used to. You got to write everything down, then you lose the paper you wrote it down on. Could be at the gym, you're not as strong. Could be you don't bounce back from exercise as well. Maybe you have a lack of drive. Pick a room. It could be any of these things. Maybe you don't sleep as well as you used to. You got to find out what's up. 803-875-MENS. Make a call to the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Set up a free confidential consultation. Tell them your story. They will help you to get back to being you again and put you on a program specifically designed for you. 803-875-MENS, Men's Clinic of South Carolina. We got some wild card showdown to do here on the Postgame Show. All right, Jalen, get ready here in just a second. Jay's prepared, hours preparing.
That's right.
For today's deal. All right, hit the music there, Jalen. Let's get it going. All right, Jay, bring them in, man.
We got Nick, we got Albert ready to play here on the Friday before Christmas. So happy holidays, boys. Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are y'all?
I'm doing all right. Albert, what'd you get me for Christmas, man?
Same thing I got you last year.
There it is.
Look at that guy.
Well played, sir. I
Boom,
loved it.
boom.
I loved it, too.
Nice.
I loved it. It was great. Elijah has already made his picks. He will not be with us today. He is otherwise occupied.
That's a nice way to
along
put
the
it.
Grand Strand.
Yes, he is.
He was at the bowl game today, and from what I understand, enjoying life in the Conway Myrtle Beach area this afternoon. But he has made his picks. We didn't have a winner last week, at least from a listener standpoint. I went 4-1 and did win the week. Terry, I have now pulled out to a 2-game lead over Elijah and a 3-game lead over you.
Look at you.
We'll see what happens this week. All right, guys. We got our playoff games that we'll all play together, and then we have NFL games for our wild card picks. Nick, I'm going to start with you. Tonight's game goes first, of course. Oklahoma hosting Alabama. Sooners are 1.5-point favorites. Nick, who you got?
Give me Oklahoma.
Oklahoma to cover at home. Albert.
I'll take Oklahoma as well.
Oklahoma. All right. Elijah Campbell has taken Alabama. And that takes me to Terry Ford.
Roll Tide, babe.
Alabama, says Terry. And as I say, I'm sticking with it. I back and forth on this one. I get why Bama is a lot of people's picks, but I'm going to go Oklahoma to slightly cover it. Oklahoma by 4, Terry. That's where I'm feeling. I'm feeling Oklahoma by 4.
Now, the line's 1.5, right?
1.5. Oklahoma now. Remember, Bama opened as a favorite.
Yeah, I'm taking Alabama by. They win by 2.5.
Okay. Well, you can't win by a half point for real, Terry. That's not how it works.
You can't get a half.
No, you can't do that. Not for real. No, that's just.
Is that just gambling?
Money.
That's just gambling.
Sorry. All right, Albert. We'll start with you for tomorrow's game. At least the first game tomorrow, I should say. A&M hosting the Hurricanes. It's Aggies -3. Albert.
Let's go Aggies.
A&M at home. Nick.
I'm going to go with Miami on that one.
Miami plus the points. All right. I don't know if that's a roll of the dice or not. Elijah has taken A&M. I am going to take Texas A&M. I said it earlier. Terry, I don't know why, but my head has been telling me like A&M by about 10. I'm not trying to diss the Hurricanes. I just think A&M, Carson Beck's going to throw a pick. A&M's going to take advantage. That's where my head is. Where's yours?
A&M gets after quarterbacks. Carson Beck is not good when you get after Carson Beck. So I'm going A&M at home.
Yeah, that's just where my head is. All right, so Nick is alone in that one. Could be good for him. Maybe not. We shall see. Oregon is hosting James Madison out in Eugene. The Ducks -20.5. Elijah has taken Oregon in this one to cover a big spread. I'll go to Terry Ford next.
I'm rooting for James Madison to make it close, but I eventually feel like as this thing goes along, Oregon will slowly suffocate them and win by 25 or something. I'm going to take Oregon and give the points. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's a lot of points in a playoff game, but I just don't. But look, James Madison. I'm with you. I want to pick James Madison. My head isn't letting me right now. I too will take.
And was he even that good of a president?
I don't know how good a president he was. He was a very good founding father. Yeah. Very good founding father. He had a lot of stuff that he did before he became president.
Now, should I put that in my thinking here?
You should, but it didn't help. Nick, who you got, man?
Oregon. Give me Oregon.
Oregon. All right. And Albert?
Lord have mercy. Give me the point.
All right. You want James Madison and the points. Okay. Hey, listen, 20.5 in a game like this is a lot of points.
It's a lot, man.
So,
yeah.
I don't
memory of Tommy Moody.
Very nice.
Hey, there you go.
Very nice.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right, Mississippi hosting Tulane. Remember, the Rebels beat the crap out of the Green Wave earlier this season, but things are a little different right now. One head coach is gone. One head coach will be. Elijah has taken Tulane plus the 17.5. Plus 17.5. So, Nick, we'll go to you.
Yeah, you give me the points on that one. They don't have Lane Kiffin no more.
Tulane and the points. Albert.
Because Lane Kiffin is gone, I'll take Ole Miss.
Oh, all right. Okay. Interesting. I like that. I have back and forth on this one. Again, a lot of points, but a blowout last time. I think the Ole Miss players have a little something on their shoulder right now. I'm gonna take Ole Miss to repeat a blowout, Terry Ford.
You know, every time I look at Pete Golding, I decide to take Tulane.
Okay.
I'll take Tulane the points.
Tulane because of how Pete Golding looks.
Yeah, he looks like that guy I used to drink beer with on campus.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Wild card time now. Again, all NFL games. Nick, we'll start with you. And you have got the Dallas Cowboys at home, 1.5-point favorites over the Chargers. Remember, Dallas is not only in must-win mode, but they're also in Eagles must-lose mode. So we'll see. But Dallas at home, -1.5 over the Chargers, Nick.
Oh man, that was a tough game with him having a broken hand and stuff. But give me the Chargers to upset them.
I think that's the right call, to be honest with you. In fact, I'm a little surprised Dallas is favored in that game. But hey, what do I know? I'm not a bookmaker. Albert, you have got the Baltimore Ravens, 3-point favorites at home over the Patriots.
I like Drake May, so give me the Patriots.
Patriots.
That's a good call right there.
He's having a good year.
That's a good call right there.
Yeah. And Baltimore needs to get some wins under their belt, too.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Elijah has Tampa at Charlotte. 3-point favorites are the Bucks. He has chosen the Panthers to cover the spread at home on Sunday. Terry Ford, you have Detroit hosting Pittsburgh. Lions -7.
I think the Lions win, but man, -7's a lot.
It is.
Really is. I don't know if TJ Watt's going to play. Give me the Lions to cover it.
Lions to cover.
Yeah, give me the Lions to cover it.
Detroit. All right. And yours truly has the Chicago Bears, 1.5-point favorites at home over Green Bay. Again, Green Bay damaged after last week's game in Denver. Chicago in fan unrest this week. I am here for the chaos. I think Green Bay is going to win that football game. So give me the Packers plus the points. And finally, guys, back to tonight's game for the tiebreaker. It is combined rushing yards in the game, not for any individuals. Neither one of these teams great at running the football. So I want combined rush yards for tonight's Bama-Oklahoma game. Elijah has already gone first, and he has chosen 217. Wow. And we'll let Albert go next.
180.
180, says Albert. Nick.
We gonna get a -3 again? Give me I don't know. I'm gonna just go 195.
195. All right. I'm gonna go. Oh man, I want to be in that ballpark. We'll give a little cushion just for yucks here. I'm gonna go 205. So we'll have a little bit of room there, Nick, between you and me and Elijah, unless Terry Ford decides to spoil the party. But Terry gets to go last this time. We had fun with the guy that picked last week against you. That was.
I know he was good. Why did he undercut me?
That was good.
that was phenomenal. What's the low on this one?
The low is 180.
179.
All right. Well, Albert, you still got a little room in there, so we shall see. All right, Nick, Albert, happy holidays, boys. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, fellas. Have a great holiday. We appreciate you guys.
Merry Christmas to y'all.
You'll have a great time.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll throw it out there to you when we get back if one of you beats us and gets yourself a nice craft beer card. All right, Ter. Well, we're all in. We'll talk about more of these games on the other side.
All right, a post-game show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Jalen Tark. Talk more college football playoff next on the game. All righty, get check on the traffic on your Friday afternoon, on your ride home. Obviously, we have our construction issues like we always have. They never go away. Also, a little Friday traffic, holiday traffic, though, as let's face it, we start moving out a little early for the holiday. And we'll get you the accident update coming up at the top of the hour. Weather-wise, should be nice. Temperatures warming up. Not a whole lot of chance of precipitation moving forward as we get into the weekend. We will come back in here, look at the college football playoff. Jay, Jalen, and myself on the Postgame Show. Post-game show, Terry Ford, Jay Phillips, Jalen Tart. We have got a college football playoff game tonight, Jay Phillips, that we've been talking about. Let me ask you this, because we were yipping about this earlier today with Jack and myself and then with Chris and Wes. Okay, let's say Alabama loses.
Mm-hmm.
Does Kalen DeBoer become the new head coach at Michigan?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I get why people keep asking that. I can't quite figure out. I suppose there's just a faction of people out there that maybe want this to happen, and or maybe Alabama fans just aren't convinced that this is the guy because he's the guy following the guy, and they just haven't really latched on. I mean, what does he have? 18 wins in 2 seasons, but I guess 7 losses is not very good in 2 seasons, but they're in the playoff. I know he's hopped around a little bit. I know he's got ties to the upper Midwest. But I think Terry on Monday I know he was asked point blank. I saw the clip. In fact, I saw the first question and then the follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he's going to – now, it doesn't – just because he said, yes, I'm going to be back doesn't mean he absolutely has to be back. But I'll take him at his word that he likes being at – I mean, he's at Alabama. And right now, Michigan's a mess. Despite how – my words here, how hard it might be for him to be coaching in Tuscaloosa and how difficult a task it is to try and do anything to replicate Nick Saban's tenure. You've got a stable group of leaders in Tuscaloosa. You know you will always have the support of the fan base and the administration. Greg Burns, a great AD. You're making what, $11 million? Do you want to go trade all that for the mess that is Michigan and not know exactly what's going to happen? I wouldn't. So I think he'll be there no matter what. That's my opinion. I
think he's going to stay too, but there's always a reason that his name keeps popping up. Just like I just think guys, whether it's his agent, whoever, you trying to leverage an extension, well, good luck at Alabama because you haven't won squat there. But good luck. There's a reason.
Don't you think they'll give him a year? I don't think. I'm with you. It is the agent. There's no question it's the agent. There's no question that the agent hasn't gone to Greg Byrne and said, "Greg, don't worry about it. We're going to get this thing done." No, and because that's what agents do. They have to maximize the potential for their client, but at the same time, if nothing else, his agent goes and says, "Just make sure you give my guy another year. We're not asking for more money." Just, give him another year so that it's on the contract and there's that feeling of stability as he goes out on the trail. That'd probably be the biggest bit of leverage that you've got right now. I mean, because you're not going to get more money.
Yeah, you got nothing else. And my whole thought is it's obviously agent-driven for whatever the reasons they're looking for. But, I also think it's human nature. I think DeBoer stays. I think it's honestly – because, again, this is why no one believes anyone. I could see Kenny Dillingham being the head coach of Michigan, even though last week he was crying and snotting and bluthering in front of a microphone how much he loves Arizona State. I could see him end up there in a week. I could see Eli Drinkwitz, even though he just signed an extension, Eli Drinkwitz ending up there. That's why no one ever believes these guys, Jay. But for me, with DeBoer, and look, I get it. You got to win more now. You knew what you were getting into when you signed up in Tuscaloosa. You were following the greatest head coach in the history of college football. You're following a guy that no one's going to come near what he did in our lifetime, most likely. And signing up for that, again, you think you know what you're getting into till you get into it. My thing, and I don't think he's leaving. But at what point, if he doesn't, like for an example, let's say that Alabama wins tonight. And hell, let's say they win in the next round and then get beat. The fan base is going to say, yeah, Nick won championships.
Right.
That's what you signed up for. At what point do you, because look, we're all human, dude. At what point do you finally slip your shoulders and go, oh, to hell with this?
Well, to your point, I'm with you. I think you understand the job you signed up for. I don't know that you understand the culture you signed into.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a little bit more time. And it can be unforgiving because at some point, too, it's up to people like Greg Byrne not to, talk to – but you gotta say to the fan, and I know this is much easier said than done, but you got to make some of those fans understand, y'all. In this day and age, to win 6 championships in 17 years,
mm-hmm.
It was unheard of before.
Yeah.
The only person that's done something like that is like John Wooden in basketball.
I know.
And
a totally different era, by the way.
Yeah.
It's
for
crazy.
Nick Saban to have done it in this era is amazing. So, at some point you got to say, y'all, don't be too unrealistic about all this. Now, again, good luck with that.
Yeah, so I would say, you're thinking logically. Good luck.
No, I know. I know. But,
good luck.
But I just don't see him. Again, it's a really good – the Michigan job's a really good job, but I think Michigan's going after Dillingham.
Yeah, I don't think he leaves either. I think he stays. I want to see – it's going to be compelling which coach takes that job because, again, it's different following and cleaning up after Sharon Moore than it is following Nick Saban. But I think whoever takes that job at Michigan –
it's going to look different. It's going to look so different.
Well, the idea is, you clean up a mess. That's a negative. But the positive is you're following a guy that didn't set a legacy. He did set a legacy, but not for success on the field, if you know what I mean.
I just think DeBoer leaving Alabama wouldn't be smart at all. You're trying to create a foundation, and you taking this team to the playoff in the second year of your coaching tenure. I think that's pretty good. He may not be at the level of Nick Saban, like what you guys were saying earlier, but I think he's off to a good start. He has 18 wins. You've lost some pretty good games against some great competition, and you taking your team to the playoff in your second season. I think that's a success for Alabama.
Still Alabama. They got plenty of support. They'll be fine, but it won't be the same. Nothing's going to be. You're not going to do. You're not going to do the Saban thing again. That's not
no. And look, to me, again, logical expectation is you're competing for championships, you're competing to get in the college football playoff year in and year out. But obviously because the unrealistic bar that Nick set, whoever's in that chair, especially right after Nick, every day is, hey, Nick did it this way. Hey, not telling you what to do, but Nick did it that way. Hey, and after a while, because you're not going to be Nick. No one's going to be Nick. It's a tough spot, and I just don't know how long anyone wants to deal with that day in and day out, is what I'm saying. You think you know what you're getting yourself into till you get there.
Right. Well, that's why I say, the job, but the culture is not the job.
No, it's a very interesting conversation, but I'm with you. I don't think he leaves. I think he's going to be the coach at Alabama next year. I just do.
I do too.
And because, again, we talked about Michigan the other day. It is a mess. They want to run out the AD. You have an interim president. You got all this stuff. They're doing an investigation to flip the program upside down and shake it and see what they can find. You don't know what any kind of violations are sitting there. It's a mess. It's absolutely a mess, Jay. My friend, we will not be talking to you again until January 5th. So get some rest. Good luck with everything you need to do in the next couple of weeks. You know we're pulling for you and we're thinking about you.
Thank you, man. I do appreciate your support, and Tammy Odell, our GM, the whole staff, everybody over there, and certainly all of you out in our listening audience that have sent me well wishes. Again, it means so much to my family that so many of you have our back. And my girls are home, doing all right. Go back for chemo again next week, Tara, but feeling pretty good right now. But it helps to have everybody's support. So thank you, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
All right. Happy holidays, my man.
Happy holidays, Jay.
Yeah.
All right, post-game show. We will spin back in here and take a trip through the vault next on the post-game show. All right, time to open the vault. Find out what's been going on in the world of sports history on this day. Terry Ford hanging here. Jalen's with us. Jay, we'll be back, like we all will, on January 5th. Going to have a lot of best of the game in the next couple of weeks. We talked about this earlier in the day, and we'll just re-rack it really quick. It's just the idea that we have Christmas and New Year's fall on a Thursday. We get a company holiday on Friday because, like I said earlier, nobody's showing up Friday the 26th or Friday the 2nd. So you get a company, and the company noticed that and said, you know what, might as well just give a couple extra days. So we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We got 2 short weeks. Figure let's give it best of the. We usually do about a bunch of days of best of the game anyway. We have no bowl game this year, so let's just do it. So we have 2 weeks of best of the game through the holidays. We'll be back on January 5th to get rock and rolling. Everybody will be fully rested, hopefully sober by then, and we'll get it going. All right, on this day in 1976, I was a very little teeny Terry Ford. In 1976, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Baltimore Colts and whooped the Colts 40-14 in an AFC playoff game. 10 minutes after the game was over, a dude named Donald Croner, a former charter pilot, crashes a rented low-wing Piper Cherokee into the upper deck of Memorial Stadium. No one was seriously hurt because most of the people had gone because the Steelers were beating the crap out of the Colts and most of the people left. And that was the only good news about getting whooped 40-14 by the Steelers in a playoff game was almost everybody was gone. So when this dude crashed the plane to the upper deck, nobody was there. Think about if that place was crowded and this cat would have flown into the upper deck. It was surreal. I was a little kid. I'll never forget this happening.
That would have been like breaking news the whole week.
Oh, it would have been insane.
Yeah.
So the good news was no one died. No one was seriously injured. But it was one of those what could have been or if kind of things. I remember that, man. It was crazy. On this day in 1990, L.A. Raiders running back Bo Jackson is named to the AFC Pro Bowl squad as a reserve, becoming the first athlete to be chosen as an all-star in Major League Baseball and a Pro Bowler in the NFL. Look, if you didn't grow up around it, you don't know how good Bo Jackson was. Bo Jackson was a freak. An absolute freak. And look, Dion was a good baseball player. Bo Jackson was a better baseball player. And look, Dion was the best cover corner I've ever seen. But old Bo could run the ball. Bo Jackson, there was nobody better as a two-sport athlete than Bo. He was sick. He was phenomenal. And then he hurt his hip, and he was never the same after that. But, yeah, Bo Jackson was something else there for a while until he got hurt. This game, I remember this game. 2001, Marshall, led by Byron Leftwich, comes back from a 38-8 halftime deficit to beat East Carolina 64-61 in double overtime of the GMAC Bowl. Down by 30 at halftime, Marshall comes back and wins a game that had 125 combined points.
What was the score?
64-61. How crazy is that?
That sounds like a defensive college basketball game right there.
It was a real defensive battle there. That thing was just, it was nuts. Byron Leftwich was a really good college quarterback.
He was really good.
I mean, in the NFL, he had some injuries and things like that, but Leftwich in college, man, whew, he was a thing. On this day in 2017, Gino Auriemma won his 1,000th career game as UConn beat Oklahoma. He was the 4th women's coach to reach 1,000 wins. Pat Summitt, Sylvia Hatchell, and Tara Vanderveer. Yep, those were the 3 as well. That was insane.
You think Dawn will get 1,000?
If she wants to keep going. Of course,
that'll be real big if that happens here.
If she continued on, and it's just going to be longevity because obviously she's going to post a ton of W's. If she wants to keep going, she'll reach that easy. Yeah. I mean, she could end up being the all-time wins leader if she decided to really stick to it.
I think so too.
Yeah,
in really great shape.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as long as she wants to still coach on the collegiate level, she could absolutely break all these records.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good, last time I checked. They're all right. Geez. All right, there's your vault for today. We'll pop back in your 5 o'clock news sponsored by Integrated Media. That's coming up next here on the Postgame Show. Terry Ford, Jalen Tart punching the buttons on the game. All right, check on the traffic. We have a few accidents, and first of all, though, we have a grass fire. I-20 eastbound at the Faro Road exit, that's exit 72, I-20 eastbound at Grass Fire. Accidents, North Lake Drive at Andrew Corley Road, also Prescott Road at Main Street. St. Andrews Road at Fernandina Road, Sunset Boulevard at Hope Ferry Road as well. We'll come back, 5 o'clock news, have a special guest on the 5 o'clock news. There was some high school football realignment in the Midlands. We'll get to that with our buddy Justin Hall. That's coming up on the 5 o'clock news, sponsored by Integrated Media on the Postgame Show. All righty. We got the 5 o'clock news ready to roll from Integrated Media. And again, it starts with the Gamecocks. If you have not heard, breaking news from the coaching front at South Carolina. Sterling Lucas, who has been, front and center in a lot of the recruiting battles for South Carolina, especially in the Dylan Stewart recruiting battle. Defensive ends, outside linebackers coach and defensive run game coordinator Sterling Lucas expected to leave the program and go work for Lane Kiffin at LSU. No word yet what the job duties will be for Sterling Lucas at LSU. And like Jay and Jalen and I were talking about earlier, what does happen regarding Dylan Stewart? Now, the talk has been Dylan Stewart is ready to come back to South Carolina for his junior season, which would be his conceivably last year before you go off to the NFL draft if everything works out the way you feel like it will. But does this change the dynamic with Dylan Stewart? How close was he to Sterling Lucas? Does that matter in Dylan Stewart's total thinking about coming back to South Carolina? Or even if Sterling Lucas, that relationship is important to Dylan Stewart, is that just a part of a bigger picture? We don't know. But Sterling Lucas moving on, it seems like that's what all reports are saying to LSU. Also, college football playoff tonight. Oklahoma hosting Alabama. It's game 1. 4 games this weekend. Talking about it earlier, look, it's almost a coin toss for me between Oklahoma and Alabama. I think Alabama's offense is better than Oklahoma's. Oklahoma's defense is better than Alabama's. But here's the weird thing in my head. Oklahoma's defense is one of the best in the country. Alabama, even though their offense kind of fell off a bit at the end, Alabama's offense is also really good. Which unit to me will be better, the Alabama defense or the Oklahoma offense? I also look at the coaching. I don't know what Brent Venables is going to be as a head coach in a college football playoff game. I know Kalen DeBoer coached a team to the championship game and got beat. Again, this thing could go either way. I'm leaning toward Alabama. We'll see how it plays out. Look, if Alabama turns the ball over like they did the last 2 times they played Oklahoma, it's a wrap. Sooners are going to win. But if Alabama can be clean, I think they're the better team all the way around, and they'll win a very close game. And I could be completely wrong, like usual.
I got Oklahoma we're going to stick it out in the middle of the ring, and we're going to just throw punches until. You know
what, though? Honestly, that is a legit point. If you're picking Oklahoma, one of the things you can say is Oklahoma wants to get into a bar fight with you. Alabama wants to get a pedicure. Alabama, look, and I know I've talked to a couple of Bama fans, and one of the things that drives them crazy with Nick, there was a toughness to Bama.
Yeah.
Right? They came and they'd slug you in the head. Then they also had skill people that would run by you. But Alabama had toughness. Fair or not, the perception of Alabama under Kalen DeBoer is they rely on skill. They're not relying on toughness. They want to outskill you, out-scheme you. They're not in the mood for the bare-knuckle bar fight. Right. And if Oklahoma can make this a bare-knuckle bar fight, that's how they win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last one, even though, the score was in the low 20s, that was a rock fight. Oklahoma wants a rock fight. And if they can have one of those, that's their way of beating Alabama, because then that plays to their defense and their special teams.
And in their home field advantage, because the crowd is going to feed off of that as well, and it's going to make it tough for Alabama to do anything. We're going to really see what type of guts Ty Simpson in this offense is going to be made up under this type of environment. They're on the road, so it's going to the stakes are a lot higher for Alabama, and I think for them, if they want to make a statement win, this is the game they got to win tonight.
I'll be honest. If we're saying who's got the most pressure, Alabama's got a lot more pressure on them than Oklahoma.
Yeah.
If Oklahoma loses, the Sooner fans are like, hey, made the playoff this year. That's cool. We're happy. Brent Venables is like, whew, I got my job for another couple years. But even if Alabama would win tonight and then lose in the next round, the folks in Tuscaloosa are like, that's it? That's all you did?
And then the whole country is going to be like, well, this is the Alabama of now versus what it was with Nick Saban. So
and look, the realistic expectations of anyone who followed Nick is crazy. Because what Nick Saban did, again, in the world we're in now with rev shares and NIL and transfer portals and all these other things. To do what Nick Saban did, it's almost going to be impossible. I'm not going to say it's totally impossible because anything can happen in this world, but man, it's you look at Nick's record.
Yeah.
How do you replicate that when guys can hop out of the portal and in the portal? You got to worry about rev share on a roster. You got to worry about NIL. You got all these things that are totally against building another dynasty like Nick had.
I don't think we're ever going to get what we saw out of Nick Saban.
No,
ever again.
And here's the thing: the fans in Alabama don't want to hear any of that. they don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they don't. And so at the end of the day, that's what you're facing. And that's why Alabama, to me, has got a lot more pressure than Oklahoma in this football game. Very easy. All right, the other interesting game of the weekend will be tomorrow when Miami and Texas A&M go at it in College Station. Again, two teams on paper, tons of talent. Miami's got some NFL dudes. A&M's got NFL dudes. When it's all said and done, A&M is at home. Are they going to A&M at some point? I don't know.
I don't
We're
know
all
either.
expecting it. I think A&M wins at home because, to be honest, I don't have a lot. Look, you can make a case not having faith in either side. You really can. And when it's all for me, I will take Texas A&M at home. I have more faith. Here's my thing. I'll be honest. Mario Cristobal, if I was a Hurricane fan, Mario Cristobal making in-game decisions scares the hell out of me.
Yes, because he's that elite in making those in-game adjustments in games.
I just think that Mike Elko. I put my money on Mike Elko over my money on Mario. Remember Mario Cristobal soiled himself in that Georgia Tech game.
Yeah.
I just think Cristobal. He's a hell of a recruiter. He's gotten Miami back to being a program that matters again. They're not the U. They're still not the U.
No.
But Cristobal is not a good in-game football coach. And the decision-making sometimes hurts his football team. And eventually they will Cristobal.
And their only two losses was to Louisville and to SMU by an average of 5 points.
But they were favored in both games. That's the thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't trust Carson Beck on the road, but I trust Miami's defense.
That's a really good defense.
Their defense is good.
They got pros. They got pros on that defense. Here's the thing. All right, and I said this hours ago. Marcel Reed has thrown 10 interceptions. That's tied for the most of any quarterback left in the college football playoff. You know who he's tied with?
Who?
Carson Beck.
Okay. Ooh.
So you got two quarterbacks who can get loose with the football. Whichever one of these two quarterbacks makes the least amount of mistakes is the team that's going to win this football game. That's how I feel. I think Reed can affect the game with his legs. Beck can't. But if you saw Marcel Reed, how he looked in the first half against South Carolina.
Yeah, if he plays like that,
they're in trouble.
They're done.
Because you're not coming back from 27 points down against Miami.
They can't. I mean, there's no way they can do that twice. But we got to move on.
Yeah. All right. Second, then we have two other games that really not many people have any hope for. Ole Miss, Tulane. I think Ole Miss wins, but I think Tulane covers the number. I don't think it's going to be that massive blowout it was the last time. I'm rooting for James Madison to make it close against Oregon in Eugene.
This is Dan Lanning we're talking about here.
Well, but Dan Lanning's 1-0. Everybody loves Dan Lanning, and I get it. I think, but Dan Lanning was handed a really good program. The cupboard was full of talent. Dan Lanning has won big there, but Dan Lanning last year was the number one ranked team in the country and got his blank beat by Ohio State in the college football playoffs.
So I'll say this. This could be the Arizona State game from what we saw last year.
And maybe. I hope. I'd love to see James Madison hang around.
If James Madison does upset Oregon, I think them playing Texas Tech would be very interesting.
I'm going to say Texas Tech has got a ton of talent. Very well paid, by the way. But they're an unknown, too. They've never, ever been anywhere close to this.
That's what I'm saying. I think that would be very interesting as well. So, I mean, I don't see.
Look, I think Oregon's going to cover the number and win big. I do. I'd love to see James Madison make it a game for a while. Oregon's they've got too much for JMU. Not to be mean, they just do.
Yeah.
And I say that sad. I wish James Madison had a better chance to, in my opinion, to put up a fight for 4 quarters. I think Jalen they can put up a fight for 2. I just think once you get to the second half, Oregon runs them over.
I wouldn't be shocked if James Madison had a lead at halftime.
I could see it because remember, last year, I know last year Boise State should have beat Oregon at Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon had trouble with Idaho for a little while. So every now and then Oregon plays with their food, so to speak. So I could see JMU there at halftime, and we're all going, wow, didn't see this. Then Oregon comes out and rolls a 28-0 heater on them.
Exactly, and I feel like that's possibly what's going to happen. The first half, they're going to figure everything out, and then kaboom, there you go.
All right, let's get Justin Hall in here on the 5 o'clock news spot for Integrated Media. Get a few minutes with Justin. Okay, my man, there's some high school realignment stuff going on. You know this better than me. Give me the what's up.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I guess I'm the correspondent, so I am touching my earpiece. This did come out about an hour ago. No, the high school league just put out their realignment for each classification. This is totally based on enrollment number, and of course, your charter schools have a times 3 multiplier for every student. Multiply it by 3. And they're going to put you in a different classification than you would be on a raw number. A lot of movement. You can still, if you're one of these schools, these principals and these school districts can still appeal these decisions. And then once the appeal process is done through the end of December and beginning of January, then we'll get the regions at some point. But a couple of big takeaways. The first one is 5A is going back to 1 division as it should. The fact that we had 2 5A state champions the last 2 years is criminal. Misdemeanor, not really a felony, but still criminal. Irmo is going back to 4A. That is a big swing there. South Florence, who's won multiple state championships, you might know about them, they're moving to 5A. Greenwood's going to 4A, as is Gaffney. Wilson is back up to 4A after a couple of years in 3. T.L. Hanna's going from 5A to 4A. Great Collegiate is moving to 5A. They're at the lower end of that enrollment number, but they will now be in 5A. So 5A, gentlemen, it consists of teams named the following: Dorman, Burns, Somerville, James Island, South Florence, Dutch Fork, Indian Land, Northwestern. Best of luck if you want to win a 5A state championship. Our Airport Eagles are back to 3A, as is Camden, as is Lower Richland, as is Gilbert. I think they'll all be in the same region if we're going to try to keep it travel sensitive. So, again, a lot of shuffling here before the Christmas holiday. These schools can still appeal it, and I doubt that's going to change anything. And then we'll get the region assignments in January, and then they can have a month to appeal that too. You might see some movement there. Usually you can make a more compelling case on that than you can the classification. 1A, by the way, is the biggest classification now. 65 teams or 65 schools are in Class 1A. Not all of them play football. Not all of them play basketball. Not all of them play baseball. It just kind of depends. So they'll be the biggest division classification, and we're still waiting to hear if they're going to split those into 2 divisions. So it's kind of your little high school update. I got one more for you, too, Terry, if you're interested. Pete Nakos is reporting Kason Henry's in the transfer portal, or will be once it opens.
I did not see that. Look at our correspondent.
Wow.
Breaking stuff.
I do what I can.
Look at you go.
Double my salary.
Yeah, we'll have to pay you twice as much as I offered you to do this segment.
Perfect. Thank you.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you, pal. It's Justin Hall from our high school football scoreboard show, giving us some realignment information. And I got to look at this. Pete Nakos of 0-3 saying Kason Henry, the best offensive lineman South Carolina had last year before the injury, going into the portal. We'll investigate that and come back with the Gamecock Notebook next here on the Postgame Show on the Game and the Game Network. All right, Gamecock Notebook. Then we'll open up with what our correspondent, Justin Hall, just gave us. According to Pete Nakos at On 3, Kaysen. They put Carson in here. I'm just reading it. They messed that up. Kaysen Henry, according to Pete Nakos, is hitting the transfer portal. Plans to. Has not officially announced it. Plans to enter. Now keep that in mind. It's plans. Hasn't been official. Hasn't announced. I mean, officially it's January 2nd when the portal opens. But like you heard, Brian Rowe's representative announced that Brian Rowe was going to the portal. This is not an announcement. It's just according to Pete Nakos, Kaysen, not Carson. They have Carson here, by the way. Kaysen Henry is hitting the portal. Plans to. So we will keep track of that. And if Kaysen Henry does hit the portal, that's 3 offensive linemen who started at least 5 games last year will be in the portal. Nick Sharp, Trevon Baugh, and then Kaysen Henry, if Henry does indeed announce. So, again, you got a new offensive line coach. You got a new style of offense. I don't know if there's conversations with these guys and they're not hearing what they want to hear. And maybe that's why dudes are jumping in the portal. Everybody's got their own situations. You know, Trevon Baugh could have been what the value Baugh thought he brought in the rev share space financially compared to what South Carolina saw him. And look, that's one of the things about all this. Because we automatically think this is just about playing time, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's about your value and what you deem your value financially compared to what the school does, especially in a rev share world now. You have, look, it's not a hard salary cap because you have NIL and things of that nature, but you do have a certain amount of money to pay for your roster. And you have to take a look at, okay, Lenore Sellers gets this, Dylan Stewart gets this, Nick Harbour gets this. And you start to look at, okay, we've got to allocate money for this player or these players. And then another player comes to you and says they're worth more than you've allocated. If you don't think you agree with that number, they could go in the portal too. I'm not saying this is what's going on with all these guys. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that's always a possibility now. We were talking about that with Wes and Chris this morning on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. That could have been part of it with Baugh, could be part of it with Rowe. It could be a multitude of things. But we switch back to 3 offensive linemen hit the portal. An offensive line, by the way, besides Kaysen Henry, was not good. No one else on that offensive line had a good season besides Henry, who got hurt.
Right.
Sometimes it's as simple as, I just want to change scenery. I've been in a place for 4 years. I want to go somewhere else. I want to go closer to my home. I want to do, who knows the situation. But when you see 3 offensive linemen go in, Jalen, you go, well, maybe they're having conversations with the new offensive line coach and the new OC, and they didn't tell them to get out, but they probably said, hey, we are opening it up for competition. No one's guaranteed a starting spot. And would you, be honest with you, would you disagree with that? I wouldn't, because the way that offensive line played.
I mean, what could they say?
Right.
They got to get somebody. They see it differently from your old coach, and you know, the new coach in town probably wants to change. You know, they wanted to, fine tune the offense is what they said.
Yeah, they're changing it to a whole new system.
This is their process. Yeah. If you don't like the process,
or maybe the type of offensive lineman you are, maybe doesn't fit the skill set needed for this new offense.
Yeah,
All I know, it's interesting that 3 offensive linemen who started last year, at least 5 games, are now in the portal.
It has you thinking, like you said, what conversations are being had, and what is different than what you were used to in the past.
Yep. So,
and I'm also interested too, who else will be entering the transfer portal from other teams? I mean, we could get some TC. I mean,
well, you think about it for a minute. I mean, look. Tree Babalade still hasn't gone in the portal from here. Josiah Thompson hasn't gone in the portal. You've had Shed Surratt still not going in the portal. So you got 3 guys there who could be part of your starting offensive line. You got some young offensive linemen who haven't had their chance yet to step up and play on the roster. You're going to hit the portal and get a center most likely, and maybe some other veterans. Like, remember, 2024, you brought in 2 offensive line starters at guard with Torricelli Simpkins and Kamara Bell. And you had a lot of these players that are here now. So, again, to your point, yes, you're going to hit the portal and bring in a couple of guys. Yeah. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. So that's out there. Again, Case and Henry, according to Pete Nakos, on 3 plans to enter the portal. It's not been official yet. South Carolina defensive ends, outside linebacker and defensive run game coordinator Sterling Lucas expected to leave the program and join Lane Kiffin at LSU. That had come out earlier. The word coming down, among others, Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark popping that out. Again, you hate to lose a guy like Lucas who, he's had some guys play really well under his tutelage. Also, he's a very good recruiter. You hate to lose guys like that. But that's being reported now that Sterling Lucas will leave South Carolina to go to LSU. So we'll see where all that shakes itself out. And again, yesterday, Brian Rowe transferring the Gamecock slot receiver. And that was announced by Brian Rowe's people that he will be hitting the portal. So that's where it's at right now with South Carolina. We'll see if any other wide receivers hit the portal, any other offensive linemen go to the portal with, again, a new offensive line coach, new OC, new system of offense. We'll find out where that goes. That's a Gamecock Notebook. We will pop back in here, drive around the SEC, get you caught up on what's happening. College football playoff has some SEC teams involved. We'll focus on that and other SEC news next here on the Postgame Show on the Game. All righty, see what's happening with the traffic. A few accidents. Sunset Boulevard at Hope Ferry Road. I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road. That's exit 106. I-20 westbound at Clemson Road, exit 80. And an accident with the right lane blocked. I-20 eastbound at Spears Creek Church Road. That is exit 82. We'll pop back in and drive around the SEC. That is next here on the Postgame Show. I'll drive around the SEC. We know the SEC fully involved in the college football playoff this weekend. You got two SEC squads going at it tonight, 8 o'clock, Oklahoma hosting Alabama. Sooners are a very slight favorite. Tomorrow, you got Texas A&M hosting Miami. That is an 8 o'clock, a noon kick. And then, of course, Ole Miss. They will be at home in the Grove against Tulane. You got at least one that's going to advance because you got SEC against SEC violence in the Oklahoma-Bama game. I think all three advance.
Yeah, and then
I think three of the four advance, obviously.
I mean, if Ole Miss beats Tulane, they're playing Georgia again.
And you got more SEC on SEC violence. I hate seeing these rematches, though.
Yeah.
Like, Tulane is a rematch with Ole Miss.
Oklahoma and Indiana in the second round.
See, that would be interesting because...
That would be very, yes.
You think the thought of the Oklahoma-Alabama winner gets Indiana. Now, Indiana was in the college football playoff last year, so they have experience, obviously. Different quarterback. Mendoza is better than Rourke. Indiana feels like they're a better all-around team this year than last year. And they beat Ohio State for the Big Ten title. Give them their props. They went to Eugene and beat Oregon.
Yeah.
Give them their props. But you almost get this feeling, again, maybe it's just I've been in the SEC country too long. You almost get the idea, it's like, okay, Indiana, that's great, but you haven't beaten an SEC team, a high-level SEC team yet. And
it's in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl.
Now, that's not to say Indiana can't.
Yeah.
Because they're good, man. But they haven't been tested by an SEC squad. And that would be what they would get with the winner of Oklahoma-Alabama.
Yeah.
So that would be a compelling watch. Just to see, again, Indiana, you've been handling your business in the Big Ten this year. We give you a thumbs up, but now handle an SEC team in the playoff.
Do you see, if A&M does win, do you see them giving Ohio State trouble?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Here's my thing with Ohio State. Yes, we know, we get it. They got pros all over the bleeping roster. I understand.
Julian is playing really well.
Saying completed over 80% of his throws this year. It's insane. But Ohio State has beaten one team.
Texas.
And that was in Columbus. And look, Texas is 9-3. So Ohio State won that game at home. Then in the Big Ten championship, the next best team they played all year, Indiana, beat them.
Yeah.
So I don't know how good Ohio State, I know they're good, obviously, but how next level is Ohio State? A&M is, again, they might not have as many NFL dudes as Ohio State, but A&M's got some players.
Yeah. They got some competitors.
And they got a lot of team speed, a lot of playmakers, the defense. I mean, A&M will give up some big plays, but they'll also get some big plays on D. I think A&M could give Ohio State a serious brawl.
Yeah, that is a bar fight of what we talked about earlier in the last segment right there.
I could absolutely see Ohio State having to scratch and claw to get past A&M. Unless A&M reverts back to old A&M.
No.
All right. So we have, I feel like 3 SEC teams will advance from the weekend, but at least one because you got 2 SEC teams playing each other tonight again, 8 o'clock, Oklahoma and Alabama. And I saw the stat that, like, Alabama hasn't lost 3 in a row to a team since, like, I don't know, 1870 or something sick. It's been forever since a team's beaten Alabama 3 times in a row.
And to be against Brent Venables.
I know. I think Brent Venables is a creative defensive mind and a hell of a defensive coordinator. Look, Brent Venables has won double-digit games twice now in 4 years, but has also had years twice, right? I don't know how good of a head coach Brent Venables is. I just don't.
I still don't have no belief in him.
I think Elko's a better coach.
I think
in a coaching matchup tonight, I think Elko's a better head coach.
I feel like he can motivate his guys to rally behind him a lot more than Venables. Very animated. I can just feel the energy of him being an animated person in the locker room. The will to win, the will to adjust. I mean, you just can't have those I'm laying an egg on a field type of moment in games that matter. I mean, if you did win the Texas game, that's a lot of momentum going into this weekend.
But you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't.
But those are the moments that could come back to bite you.
Well, I think this. Let's throw another. This one just hit me, and it might not matter for anything. All right. Texas lives rent free in Texas A&M's head, right?
Yeah.
Last year, we kind of forget this. I mean, the participants don't. But Ohio State won the national championship last year. Do you remember, though, the look on Ryan Day's face standing there in Columbus, Ohio, on the sideline watching Michigan celebrate as a Michigan team who had no business beating Ohio State, beat Ohio State again, and the world was ended, right? Who went off and won the national championship? Ohio State. I'm not saying A&M's going to do that, but what I'm saying is sometimes you want to beat, like, someone so bad that it also it sometimes works in reverse.
Where you're sacrificing your whole team.
It's so in your head, right? It's so in your head. And maybe that's with A&M when it comes to Texas. So maybe the fact that A&M will get away from Texas like Ohio State got away from Michigan, maybe you clear your head now, you move forward, you're not playing that hated rival that you want to beat so bad. So maybe that works to your advantage a little bit. Look, again, I don't think A&M's won the national championship.
I know.
But could they win a game or two? Yes. They could. But we all look at the Texas game and went, oh, yes, that's an A&M I used to know. Okay, there they are. They're still there. But I think A&M can shake that off and beat Miami.
Do you see Indiana as the favorites to win it?
Honestly, like I said, when we just talked about Indiana taking on the winner of Bama and Oklahoma, Indiana's very good. And I don't want to take that away from them. What they've accomplished this year by beating everyone on their schedule, going to Eugene and beating Oregon, beating Ohio State for the Big Ten championship. But again, they have not run up against a high-level SEC team. That's my thing. And again, I look at Alabama and Oklahoma. They're not the cream of the crop of the SEC this year. Neither one.
Yeah.
But I am interested to see how does Indiana handle either one of those two teams. So I don't know I guess on paper Indiana's a favorite because they're number one in the college football playoff and they're undefeated.
And they only lost 2 games in almost 2 years.
I mean, what Curt Cignetti's done there is phenomenal.
It's incredible. Like, that's why I asked that. It's because it may be a situation where they could be in a close game, but I feel like when it comes down to coaching and to have those in-game adjustments, I'm siding with Curt Cignetti to do something because, again, we've never seen him go past the second round of the college football playoff. Knowing that they made it last year, we've never seen him make it as far as the semifinals or the finals. So to see that will be something worth watching and kind of saying, how far can he really take a talented team? And then you have the Heisman Trophy winner in Fernando Mendoza. He may have an extra level to his game that we may see in the postseason. Who knows?
It's such there's so many unknowns with this year, especially. Like, we don't know how good Ohio State is. We don't know how good Indiana is. We really don't. We think Georgia's got it together and they're ready to make a run because the way they played, down the stretch. And the way they've owned the fourth quarter all year. We think that, right? We think when we look at this whole situation that, okay, in that second level of teams, it could shake out to where, hey, Oregon's really talented. They're under the radar a little bit more this year than they were last year when they were the number one ranked team going to the playoff. But there's so many unknowns here in the college football playoff this year. There just are. And when it's all said and done, I like Georgia.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that. I think since we're on the drive around the SEC, I personally think Georgia has the best shot to either go to the finals or to win the whole. If we could potentially see Indiana and Georgia in the final.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
We could see. I would watch that. That would be something that I would turn my TV on. I will set my DVR to record. I will buy it on Blu-ray disc whenever the game does come out. To be
they still do Blu-ray. They still do Blu-ray.
I mean, the CVS's and the Walgreens still have Redbox.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I like me some Redbox for a while. Old Tara enjoyed the Redbox. I pull up, hey, look, Redbox. I'm gonna get me a movie. I liked Redbox. I did. I'm like, I got a VCR somewhere in the basement. And not a VCR, I mean a DVD player somewhere in the basement.
Lord. My grandparents have cassette tapes and DVD. Yeah.
My dad, I'm not going to lie to you. My dad, even up till the day he died, he had a VCR player in his, smoke room.
Mm.
And he would always call me and go, hey, boy, you come over here and start up my VCR like it was a car. Go start that thing up for me. He was scared to death of any stuff like that. But he had a VCR tape deck in his smoke room until the day he died because he still would dig up in his VCRs and watch tapes. So I got a DVD player somewhere in my basement. And, my dad still had cassettes and 8-tracks, bud.
Ooh.
8-tracks my dad had.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah, they were fun.
Yes.
Oh, anyway. All right, real quick before we forget, tonight, drive around the SEC in basketball. LSU 9-1 on the year, hosts Southeast Louisiana. Huge slate of SEC games tomorrow. Kentucky hosts number 22 St. John's, or Kentucky and St. John's are going at it. Mississippi State will be at home against Memphis, who just lost to Vandy. Number 14 Arkansas and number 8 Houston in the Never Forget Tribute Classic. That should be a good one. Number 21, Auburn. Number 6, Purdue in the Indy Classic. So, SEC getting it going this weekend. That's your drive around the SEC. Jay versus the Internet. In honor of Jay, we will still look at the wagering lines on games as we move forward today and through the weekend. That is next here on the Postgame Show. Jalen's here punching the buttons. Terry Ford, one more segment on the game. All right, in honor of our buddy Jay Phillips, who was with us till about 4:30 today.
Yeah, around that
roughly
time.
around there, or 4:45.
Yep.
We are going to do Jay versus the Internet. You can hit the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music there, Gio. Quick.
Gotcha.
Look at you go. We're going to go over these college football playoff games again on the wagering line. Oklahoma giving 1.5 to Alabama. I think Bama covers the 1.5 and wins the game outright. You think Oklahoma covers
I think
the 1.5?
Oklahoma will have 1.5, yeah.
All right. Over-under is 40.
For the game?
Yep, I will take the over barely of 40.5. It's not going to be high scoring, not at all.
I don't think so. In the 20s.
All right. Tomorrow, noon kick, Texas A&M giving 3.5 to Miami. I will take Texas A&M and give Miami the 3.5.
A&M.
Ole Miss and Tulane. Tulane's getting 17.5. I think Tulane covers, but Ole Miss wins the game. I will take Tulane in the 17.5.
I'll take Tulane in the 17.5 as well.
Oregon, James Madison. Look, 20.5 is a lot of points.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I want to take the points. I just think Oregon eventually curb stomps James Madison by more than 20.5. But I'm rooting to be wrong.
They're running back
Go
to the
Dukes.
East Coast.
Go Dukes. All right. That is what's going on in the college football playoff. In the NFL this weekend, there are some important games, obviously, in the league.
The Bears, man. Everybody will be watching that game.
Look, it's interesting. The Bears and the Packers, you know, the Bears finally get their opportunity. That's tomorrow night. Bears are a 1.5 favorite. I just think the way this series goes, Green Bay will go into Chicago and find a way to win. They just will.
My thing is, how will Green Bay respond without Micah Parsons?
I mean, losing Parsons hurts, but, you know, you've got, I mean, and they got a lot of injuries. They've had injuries all over both sides of the ball. And that's why, you know, you sit and you look at, you know, the Bears should win at home, but the Packers have had the Bears' numbers so much.
And I'd like Ben Johnson.
I do too. I think Ben Johnson's done a hell of a job.
Yes.
You know what's funny about Ben Johnson, really quick? Remember, he interviewed for a couple different gigs for back-to-back seasons, and there was a whisper he wasn't a great interviewer. That's why he wasn't getting jobs. I've watched what Ben Johnson's done this year. I think he's done a phenomenal job in year one with the Bears.
I think what sold me real quick was when he first walked into the building and he told the entire staff in the building what he wanted to do. And I was like, he's going to change the organization.
Okay, he has taken them to another level culture-wise. Tampa Bay is giving 3 to the Panthers.
Carolina. I hate to say that, but Carolina.
I think Carolina wins at home.
I think so, yeah.
I will take Carolina at home to win that game. And don't get me wrong, they'll play in 3 weeks in Tampa, and then the Bucs will win that game.
Yeah.
But the Panthers at home, I will give Tampa the 3. I'll take the Panthers and the 3 at home.
That's fair.
Yeah. Also, Steelers and Detroit. We had this in the Wild Card Showdown. I think Detroit can beat them by a touchdown. The Steelers have multiple pass rushers that are going to be out for this game, most likely. And if you can't rush the passer against the Lions, you get tore apart.
Where is this game?
Detroit. So I think Detroit will cover. I think Detroit will cover
as much as I want to say Aaron Rodgers is really starting to peak, going into this mode of where you got to make the playoffs and you got to play at a high level. But I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers win, but I will take Detroit.
I think Detroit will cover the 7.
Yeah.
And look, I love my Ravens, man. The idea the Ravens are 3-point favorites against the Patriots coming off a blowing gack in that 21-point lead to Buffalo. The Ravens are 7-7. Lamar's not 100%.
Lamar and Mahomes just out of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens are fighting for their playoff lives, but look, could the Ravens win at home? Sure. Do I think they will? No.
No.
I think the Patriots will win and cover the 3.
And again, I feel bad for Derrick Henry. I just feel bad.
He'll probably be back one more year. I think you'll see Derrick Henry back one more year.
Okay.
I could see it. I mean, he's not running it as well as he did last year, but he's still carrying the ball at a pretty high level. And finally, your Colts, Monday night against San Francisco and Indy. San Francisco's giving your Colts 5.5.
If we don't have DeForest Buckner back, we're not winning.
I'll say this. I think the 49ers win, but the Colts at home will cover the 5.5. I think it'll be closer than Vegas thinks.
I think it will be just like the Seattle game, but it will be more points. But I think the Colts will win at home.
You think the Colts beat the 49ers?
I think so.
Okay.
I will put yes.
All right. Good deal. There's your little Jay versus the Internet. By the way, the bowl games today, in case you missed it, Myrtle Beach Bowl, where our morning crew, the early game was in Conway. Again, thanks all the folks in Conway. From Chance Miller, Mike Uva, the whole crew. They were fantastic. Great hospitality from the folks at Coastal. Thank you very much. The bowl game, Western Michigan 41, Kennesaw State 6. Yeah.
I don't know why the committee selected those two.
And then NC State, they're up on Memphis 31-7 with about 51 seconds left. NC State looks like they will win the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl.
That's a long name.
Yeah, it's way too long. Way too long, man. You got to shorten that thing up for the future.
Yeah.
NC State will win their 8th game of the year.
I got a whole bowl named after me called the Pop-Tart Bowl, so I'm ready for no rain on that.
Hey, look, how cool is a Pop-Tart Bowl?
It's
Just
amazing.
saying.
It's amazing,
All right,
man.
we will be gone for the next 2 weeks. Best of the games for Christmas and New Year's week. Like always, we appreciate you for listening and watching and putting up with us. It does mean a lot to us, and we thank you very much for the time you spend with us. We'll be back January 5th with live shows. Have a happy holiday, a happy new year. Jalen, good work, my friend. Jay, great job. Langston, appreciate you. Terry Ford, Postgame Show. Talk to you in 2026.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.